And this exciting revolutionary quilt became our Hannah Wallace fabric collection. And when we worked with Denice Lipscomb, she was starting the Patriots in Petticoat idea for a quilt, and we thought, what a wonderful idea to have women, revolutionary women, the daughters of American Revolution, make a quilt. So at this point, you can see we have a beautiful quilt designed by Denice Lipscomb of Common Threads Quilting, and I am proud to introduce her now to come and talk to you about the quilt creation, the block of the month, and also answer questions. So please open the floor to Denice.
Thank you, Laura. First of all, let me say that my voice does not carry real well, so if you have trouble hearing me, please let me know. It probably will fade as the time goes by, but that's just my voice. As Laura said, we worked in conjunction with the Daughters of the American Revolution Museum, and this Hannah Wallace collection was taken from a quilt that was designed by Hannah in the early 1800s. I think she said 1840. I wasn't exactly sure of the date. We have wanted to honor women who played a part in the Revolutionary War. Your first question is going to be, did we honor Hannah Wallace? Well, Hannah was 5 years old when the war broke out, so I don't think she did much for the war effort. Her father was a Quaker, which also lends you to believe that she probably didn't, but he was also a British sympathizer. So I decided maybe I should leave her out. We tried to choose lesser-known women so that if you used it as a class in your shop, you could discuss these women each month and really learn something about the Revolutionary War. However, we could not leave out Martha Washington, of course, so she's represented in the center medallion. This, by the way, is my daughter, Laura, otherwise known as Vanna, and she will be pointing things out to you. And we also honored Abigail Adams in the finishing directions. You're going to learn about such women as Sarah Bradley. Sarah was known as the mother of the American Revolution. In her brother Nathan's kitchen, she and another woman whose name that has been lost to history painted up her brother and her husband to look like Mohawk Indians. They joined the band that they had brought together and went to Boston Harbor and dumped tea in Boston Harbor. You're going to learn about Deborah Sampson. Deborah was the first American woman that was known to have dressed up as a man and joined the Army. I see your mouth falling open, yes. When she got wounded, the doctor found her out. He quietly got her out of the way, but indeed, she ended up getting a $4 a month pension from the American government. We've included Polly Cooper, and Polly was an Oneida Indian who was the cook at Valley Forge for Washington's troops. And indeed, if you go to the Smithsonian Museum, you will see a statue in the Museum of the American Indian of Washington, Polly, and Polly's chief, whose name escapes me. And indeed, the last page of the block that honors Polly has a picture of head up of that statue. We also are honoring two African-American women, Phyllis Wheatley and Elizabeth Freeman. The quilt measures 98 by 98, and the program runs for 12 months. You will receive, your customers will receive 20 patterns in this whole program rather than 12, because for the first 8 months, they're going to get 2 blocks a month. And each block represents a woman so that they'll learn about 16 different women in the first 8 months. Block number 9 represents Martha Washington at month number 9, Month 10 is the log cabin. Month 11 is the ribbon border. And then month 12 is all the other borders and the finishing directions. The program begins in January. The first fabric shipment will be in December, and it's going to be shipped to you quarterly. The patterns you can receive any way you want. We'll ship them quarterly. We'll ship them monthly. We'll ship them all at one time. You can increase or decrease at any time. If you have folks who drop out, then you call Laura, who's handling all this for me, and she will up your number or decrease your number, whatever you want. The pattern set is $36. We've got a couple of them here for you to look through, and they will be in the Windham booth. We're also providing a cutting guide free of cost that will tell you how to cut the kits each month. And it's pretty simple. You can cut anywhere from 10 kits to 100 with using the cutting guide. We are charging $24.95 a month to run that program in our shop. And the way we came about this cost, we take the cost of the pattern, we take the cost of the fabric. My husband, the scientist, figures out some factor for the labor so that we fold that in, and then we divided it by 12. So the first few months, they're going to pay $24.95 and not get a lot of fabric. But toward the end, they're going to get significantly more fabric when they're getting their log cabins and things like that. Several years ago, I learned from a good friend about the law of unintended consequences, and now I see it everywhere. It came into play with this when we started getting phone calls and emails from women who would say, my mother belongs to the DAR, and I've never done a block of the month before, but I have to do this. I belong to the DAR, and I read about this in our chapter newsletter, and now they're encouraging us all to do it. So, folks, the DAR is out there advertising for this, and we didn't have to do anything about it. So, I need to know if everybody got flower seeds. If you didn't, I have some villagers here. And that's something I should tell you that I skipped on my notes here. It does take a village to make a design like this. And you will see, right, villagers, raise your hand. These are all part of my village at Common Threads. There are over 200 versions of this quilt in my EQ6. I would get what I thought was a really cool design. I'd take it to the shop and say, well, what do you think? And they'd say, well, that's really kind of boring. And it's like, well, okay, I'll go back again. So it took that long and probably 6 to 8 months to really come up with something that everybody felt good about and was pleased with. So it does take a village. Question, is anybody here from Southern Louisiana? So you probably know what lanyap is. My Southern Louisiana husband taught me about lanyap. It's a Cajun word or a French word? Okay, well, he didn't know either. And when I talked to him last night, I said, okay, I'm going to tell them about lanyap. What is it, Cajun or French? And he said, I don't know. So, Lagniappe, right? Does that sound right? Lanyap. It means a little something extra. So I wanted to tell you what we do with our block of the months, and we don't do it with all of them because we never want anybody to expect it. We drop something extra sometimes into the kits when they go out. So when we send out the center medallion from Martha Washington, we're going to drop flower seeds from Mount Vernon. You can go onto the Mount Vernon website to their gift shop and order flower seeds. They cost $2 a piece. And now you all know what I paid for the gift that I gave you today. Yes, absolutely. When you do Sarah Bradley, you could put a little bag of English breakfast tea in there. They'll open it up and they'll say, why did I have a tea bag in here? Until they read the story. And then they'll say, oh, wow, isn't that cool? The other thing I did was go on eBay, and I found this bag of arrowheads. Now, these are not antique collectible arrowheads. This looked like some guy sits in his garage and makes arrowheads because that's his hobby, and figured out if he sold them on eBay, some sucker like me would buy them. So I got this great big bag of arrowheads for like $10 or so. So when we do Polly Cooper, we're just going to drop an arrowhead in there. So it's not every month, and it's not in contiguous months because you don't want them to start expecting it. It's just something a little extra every once in a while. So we're going to do door prizes today. We do have 2 bundles that aren't every one of the fabrics, but most of the fabrics, because Windham was gracious to, when I was making this, to keep sending fabrics, and we had some left over, so that we thought we ought to share them with you. I know that Laura, so if we need business cards from everybody, but I know Laura probably has, did I leave something out? I did. I left out the part about the, our website has a picture of the quilt and of every block, and you're free to go on there and download those and use them in any promotional way that you want. What else did I forget? Oh, well, I guess that would help. Yes, commonthreadsquilting.com. Dana, here's another. Right. That wasn't real smart, was it? You have to guess what website, just anywhere. Take a guess. Okay. Looks like we have some more here. Does anybody have questions? Yes, ma'am. Yes, Windham does have shop kits that has a set of patterns, a cutting guide, and all the fabric to make the quilt top, along with binding. Right. A lot of people already have them, but I'm sure they would be more than happy to make up a whole bunch more.
Also, I was going to say, just an aside, that we have also created the Hannah Wallace poster, which if you come to our booth, if you want something for your store like that, we will take, happy to send it to you gratis, just to be able to help you in your store promote it, have something visible that they can see until you get your quilt made. So you can stop by our booth tomorrow, and we can take names and get some information.
6-something.
624.
624. And the quilt will be there all weekend, and feel free to take pictures, to come by to do it, whatever. Absolutely. You bet. Because we have every block, every individual block on the website, so that you can pull those up too. That's right. You bet. Okay, let's give away some prizes. How about that? This is Broadbent Quilt Shop, Janice Mickelson. And one more. Diversity Quilting Supplies, Diane Jansen. All right. I know you all could have been lined up for sample spree now, so I'm very grateful that you came today. Thank you. And please hang around.